Have you ever stopped to think about this? Every single building you've ever walked into, your apartment, your office, that coffee shop, someone owns it. And it's making them very, very rich. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you the real level-by-level map people use to build incredible wealth with property. And let's just start with this powerful truth right out of the gate. Real estate is the undisputed heavyweight champion of wealth creation. It's made more millionaires than stocks, bonds, or anything else. But here's the best part. You don't need to be a millionaire to get in the game. So here's our roadmap. Think of it like a ladder. We're going to start on the very first rung and climb our way up step by step, all the way to the ultimate real estate endgame. Let's do it. All right, so let's get the foundation straight. Property isn't just a place to live, right? It's the bedrock upon which massive fortunes are built. We're about to walk through the exact playbook that takes people from zero to a full-blown real estate empire. Every great journey starts with that first step. And in real estate, that first step is usually turning your single biggest monthly expense, your own home, into your very first asset. And that brings us to level 1, house hacking. Now, the concept here is genius in its simplicity. You turn your own home into an income stream. It can be as basic as just renting out a spare bedroom, or you could buy a small multifamily building, like a duplex, live in one half and rent out the other. If the rent you collect covers your mortgage payment, well, you're essentially living for free. Your home just went from your biggest bill to your first moneymaker. So, once you've gotten the hang of house hacking, the next move is pretty obvious. At level 2, you become an entry-level landlord. You move on to your next place. But here's the kicker. Instead of selling that first property, you keep it. You turn the whole thing into a rental. And just like that, rent checks start hitting your bank account every single month. You literally start making money in your sleep. Okay, owning one rental property, that's great. It's a fantastic start. But to really, truly accelerate your wealth, you need to stop thinking about one-off properties and start building a repeatable system. This brings us to level 3, the Airbnb entrepreneur. And here, you've got a really interesting choice to make. You can get a long-term tenant, which means consistent, reliable income with way less hassle. Or you could turn it into a short-term rental. Now, it's definitely more hands-on, but in a good market, you could make 2, even 3 times more money every month. If you dial it in, that one property can become a cash printing machine. So at this point, you've got a taste of that sweet, sweet rental income, and you're hooked. The natural question that pops into your head is, how do I scale this? How can I get more properties, and how can I do it faster? Well, that exact question leads us right to level 4. And that is the BRRR method. And let me tell you, this is an absolute game changer for building a portfolio quickly. Here's how it works. You buy a property that needs some work. You renovate it, which forces the value up. Then you rent it out, so it's cash flowing. Now, because it's worth more, you go to the bank and refinance it, pulling your original cash investment right back out. You still own an income-producing property, but you've got your initial capital back to go do it all over again. It's a powerful loop for rapid growth. Okay, so you've got your system down, you're recycling your cash, you're building a solid portfolio. Now it's time to graduate. It's time to start playing in the pro leagues, expanding beyond single-family homes into bigger and often much more profitable assets. At level 5, you become a commercial specialist, and the game completely changes. Instead of renting to people, you're renting to businesses. This means you get long-term leases. We're talking 5, 10, even 15 years. And even better, the tenant, the business, often pays for things like taxes, insurance, and maintenance. It's a business decision for them, not an emotional one. That means higher profits and way fewer calls about a leaky faucet at 2 a.m. And this brings us to the next level of smart investing. At level 6, you start looking for wealth where nobody else is. We're talking about the unsexy, unglamorous, but wildly profitable niches. Think about it. Mobile home parks, self-storage units, even farmland or billboards. The operating costs are low, the demand is steady, and there's often way less competition. And just in case you think that sounds boring, consider this. Over the last 25 years, the self-storage industry has delivered an average annual return of 16%. That's proof that sometimes the biggest money isn't in a shiny skyscraper, it's in a few hundred metal roll-up doors. So you've built this amazing, diverse portfolio. You've got strong income streams coming from all over. What's left? What's the final boss level? Well, welcome to the endgame. This is where the goal shifts from just earning an income to actually wielding power in the market. At level 7, You become a true real estate mogul. See, eventually, your ambition is going to outgrow your bank account, so you start using other people's money. It's called syndication. You find a huge deal, like a massive apartment complex or a retail center, and you bring in a group of investors to fund it. You manage the deal, they put up the capital, and everybody shares in the profits. Real estate just became a team sport. But as you get bigger, you might spend years searching for that perfect property to buy, and you just can't find it. So what do you do when the ideal investment simply isn't out there? At level 8, you stop looking and you start creating. You become a developer. You buy a plot of empty land and you build exactly what the market needs. This is how some of the largest fortunes in the world have been made, not by buying existing assets, but by creating brand new value out of thin air. Now, at this point, you've pretty much conquered the real estate world. But believe it or not, there is one final level. And up here, at the absolute peak, the motivation changes completely. It's no longer about collecting rent checks. It's about raw, market-bending power. This is level 9, too big to fail. We are talking about massive institutional funds that aren't just buying one house. They're buying thousands of them at a time. They're buying entire neighborhoods. To the average family trying to find a home, it feels like an insane housing shortage. To these funds, it's just business. It's a strategy. They don't just participate in the market, they are the market. Now, you'd think that with so much on the line, they'd be incredibly cautious, right? I mean, if the market crashes, they stand to lose billions. But what happens when their massive bets go wrong? Here's the crazy part. They know that if things go sideways, the government will probably bail them out, because letting them fail would be catastrophic for the entire economy. It creates this implicit safety net that allows them to chase astronomical wealth with almost no real downside. They get to privatize the gains and socialize the losses. So there you have it. We've gone all the way from renting out a spare room to literally bending markets. You've seen the entire map laid out. So the only real question left is, where on this ladder do you want to plant your flag?